All right, let's keep plowing on. We're going to keep learning about more SQL functions. I've got a couple more for you. And they are sum and count. And where they go, these are aggregate functions. So again, they go in the select clause or the having clause, which we'll get to in a few lessons. And here's what they do. The sum clause totals the data that you pass to it. The count tells you how many records you returned. Whoa, sorry. It's important that you understand the difference between these two fields, because it sounds like sum and count do the same thing, but they don't, because they're both additive. For example, the count of retail order should be 3 because there are 3 records in here. But the total of order total is going to be around $1,000 or so because it has totaled up these fields. So that's the difference between sum and count. And that's going to be something that you see very often on quizzes. You will see it very often on quizzes. So be ready for that. So we're going to look at, you know what, let's not use retail order. Let's use order item. This lists the items that were ordered in each order. So order number 1000 has ordered 2 things, one of each for 300 and 130 apiece, yada yada. This is order 2000 and this is order 3000. Whoever that was who submitted order 3000 ordered a lot of things. And this record here at the end is one that I added for example purposes. As a matter of fact, I think I'll take that out because it's going to throw off our results a little bit. So, looking at order item, I could say I want to know how many items have been ordered. Or no, let's look at this a different way, and I'll explain why later. Retail order. How many orders have been submitted? Well, you could look at this data and go, well, 3. But again, this is a small data set. In the field, you could be looking at much, much, much larger data sets that it would be completely impractical to count by hand. So, let's make a query. That's what we do. So, query design, yada, yada, yada. Been here, done this. By the way, I found a way to increase the font size in my SQL Select window, so hopefully that'll help you guys who are trying to squint at a computer screen to determine what it is I'm typing. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, how many orders did I get? Well, there's nothing here that I can total to tell me. All you can do is literally just count 1, 2, 3. Well, 3 orders. Well, that's what the count keyword is for. So, what you do is you say select count. And count is another aggregate function, so it's expecting you to pass something to it. But it doesn't perform a total based on the data. It literally just tells you how many records you have. So the usual parameter that you pass to count is star. Just count everything for me from retail order. Now we look at retail order and we know there's 3 orders. So if I select the count, that's what I should get. So let's try it and see. 3. Yay! It counted the amount of records we have. Oh no, there's that stupid expression 1000. So I'll go back in as number of orders. It's always better to use the as keyword to return the field as being descriptive of the data that it will hold. I could do this as select count as Pop-Tarts. But if I'm actually running the query and I look at the data, I just go, okay, so I've got 3 Pop-Tarts. What does that mean? So it's always better if you're going to use the as keyword to use it to describe the data that it will hold. So number of records. I run it. I've got, let's see, number of records, 3. So that tells me I've got 3 records in my retail order. Now if I want to say how much money have I made, okay, well I'm not counting the records anymore because that doesn't tell me how much money they've made. What I want is the total of the orders. So I want to know how much money have we brought in. Well, 3 is not the answer to that. So that's where we total up the order total, and that's what the sum keyword is for. So I'm going to go back to my SQL view, and instead of selecting count, I'm going to do select sum. Now sum is an aggregate function that does do something based on the data you give it. So it's important that you give it the right field. In this case, we want to add up this, all the order totals. So that's what we'll put in as the parameter here, order total. Select sum order total from retail order. And that should tell me how much money that whoever it is that runs this company has made. Run it, $1,235. And there's that expression 1,000. So go back in as my money. So not as descriptive, perhaps a little zealous, but there it is. So you could call it total income or total order amount, something that describes the value it's holding. So that's what sum and count do. I'm going to discuss why we didn't use count here, because I almost used this and I said, tell me how many items have been ordered. Well, you could count this and go, well, it looks like there have been 8 items ordered. But don't forget there's a quantity field here. So this record, for example, is about 4 items. 4 of the same item, rather, not just 1. So if I wanted to know how many total items have been ordered, I would probably total the quantity. So just for demonstration, I'll show you that. We're changing our from, because this data comes from order item now. That's where the quantity is. And I'm going to total up my quantity instead. And this is going to be total items ordered. So I want the total amount of this field in this table. So this table is order item. It has that field, and I want the total. And looking off the top of my head, it should be 13. So let's see. Ta-da! Total items ordered, 13. If you were to say count instead, you would be wrong. Because there are 8 records, but multiple quantities sometimes per record. So this is where that difference comes into play. It's important that you understand the difference, because there will be businessmen making decisions based on the data that you give them. And if you are wrong, it will hurt. So, I hope that helps. Let's keep going on.